I'm now going to read through the descriptions of the dragons, and I'm going to talk to you about the vivid description and the figurative language that we can see in all four of the dragons. So here we go, we've got the red dragon. Red dragons are greedy and obsessed with increasing their treasure hoards. They are vain, cunning, and terrible. The red dragon lives in warm habitats such as volcanoes or tropical islands. A red dragon can be identified by its long wings and two long horns. They have a long red forked tongue. Red dragons breathe a deadly fire. Tiny flames often dance in his nostrils when he is angry. His eyes gleam with unrestrained greed when he has seen treasure. He smells of smoke and sulphur. Red dragons are fiercely territorial. They prefer to eat meat, especially people. The best part of a meal for a red dragon is drinking the blood. So let's have a look. There's loads of description in there, using the senses as well, because we even know how the dragon smells. He smells like smoke and sulphur. So let's go back to the start. So they're greedy and obsessed with treasure. They're vain, cunning, and terrible. So already we have loads of adjectives, vivid adjectives, and that's two sentences. We know where they live. So the red dragon lives in warm habitats, and then we have extended and stretched the sentence by adding an example of a warm habitat, volcanoes or tropical islands. Went on to describe the wings, the horns, the tongue. Okay, so we have a noun phrase there. They have a long red forked tongue, okay, separated with commas. They breathe a deadly fire. Now instead of saying they breathe fire, we just stretch the sentence by adding one word, a deadly fire. Here we have personification. Tiny flames often dance in his nostrils. Now flames don't dance, but we have given it a human trait, dancing in his nostrils. So there's some personification. Okay, again we have the smell. They are fiercely territorial, so that means they don't like anybody coming into their territory, onto their land. And then it just goes on about what they like to eat. Okay, here we have the blue dragon. So blue dragons are pensive and vain. They live in hot, dry areas such as sandy deserts. The blue dragon is large and vibrant. It can be identified by his frilled ears and a single horn upon his head. Their eyes are smooth, glossy, and without pupils, so when looking at them you may feel as though you were looking into eternity. The dry scent of pine and sand follows a blue dragon wherever they go. Blue dragons love to soar in the hot desert air. They breathe lightning, that is, a lightning bolt rather than fire. Blue dragons are dedicated carnivores who eat snakes, lizards, and occasionally even desert plants, but truly prefers herd animals such as camels. They prefer to attack people in ambush. Surprise and distance are their greatest ally. Blue dragons enjoy sitting and reflecting. So let's have a look at some of the descriptive language here. So blue dragons are pensive and vain. If you're pensive, it means you're quite thoughtful and you like to sit and think. Okay? If you're vain, you like kind of looking at yourself and you love yourself a little bit. So then we learn about the habitat as well. So they live in hot, dry areas, and again we've stretched the sentence by giving an example, such as sandy deserts. We have words like large and vibrant, frilled ears, single horn upon his head. Description of the eyes, they're smooth and glossy without pupils. Okay, so it's not just their eyes are black, they are smooth and glossy without pupils. Again, all of the senses. The dry scent, a scent is another word for a smell, of pine and sand. So they smell like pine trees and sand. Okay, they breathe lightning. They don't breathe fire, they breathe lightning bolts. And then it talks about what they like to eat in the final paragraph. Next up, we have the white dragon. White dragons are small and can be identified by their sharp, intelligent-looking eyes and intense expression. Their scales resemble fur or even feather in places. They have wide feet and sharp claws to help them walk atop snowbanks. An aura of coldness seems to surround the white dragon. They live in remote, icy climates, usually Arctic areas, but sometimes very high mountains. They travel alone and have very good memories. They prefer the solitude of snowy plains and caves, far away from the warming rays of the sun. Living in frosty climes, white dragons prefer their food to be suitably chilled. If their victims have not frozen to death already, white dragons will often pack them away in the snow until they are properly frozen. If you ever encounter a white dragon, be on your guard. He is swift and alert. Your best bet is to scare or intimidate him, as white dragons are sometimes known to be cowardly. He breathes a chilling frost. Let's have a look at this. So again, we have regular adjectives like it's small. They have intelligent looking eyes, intense expression on their faces. Their scales resemble fur or feathers, so it's not quite harsh. It looks quite soft. They have wide feet and sharp claws to help them walk on snowbanks, like they have sort of snowshoes on. This word is good, an aura of coldness. That's kind of like an atmosphere of coldness surrounds them. Again, it gives information about their habitat. It stretches the sentence, so they like icy climates, and we stretched it by giving Arctic areas or very high mountains. Here's another good word, solitude. They prefer the solitude of snowy plains and caves. So this plane is not like an airplane. It's kind of like a long stretch of land, but solitude means being on their own. So they like being on their own. They like their food to be chilled, so it describes what they like to do with their food, so they pack it away. But they're also a little bit cowardly, and this dragon breathes frost. So we've had a dragon who breathes fire, one with lightning and one with frost. And finally, we're going to have a look at the green dragon. The green dragon prefers forests. The older and bigger the trees, the better. He may make his lair behind a waterfall or near a lake, pond or stream that provides a submerged entrance. The closer one gets to his lair, the darker the woods become. Evil hangs in the air, mingling with the forest scents to produce foul odours. He is a liar and a master at storytelling. When attacking, he will usually stalk his prey first, sometimes for days, and he loves to play with his prey before torturing them to death. A green dragon can survive on practically anything, including shrubs and small trees, and uses camouflage to his advantage. The green dragon's head is covered in hornlets. He has a long neck and legs and resembles a brontosaurus and reeks of chlorine. Green dragons breathe poisonous gas, that is, a toxic chlorine gas. So here we go. So he lives in the forest, so it tells us a little bit about the habitat and what type of trees he prefers. Sometimes he might live in behind a waterfall or near a lake, as long as it has a submerged entrance, so a hidden entrance under the water. Here's some more personification. So evil hangs in the air, mingling with the forest. Now, mingling means you kind of hang out with somebody. Evil is not a human. It doesn't have any human characteristics, but the author of this one has given evil human characteristics by saying it mingles with the forest. Okay, so this dragon is a liar and he likes telling stories. It talks about how he attacks his prey and what he likes to eat. Then we have a description of his head covered in hornlets. Hornlets are small horns. And then it says he resembles a brontosaurus, so a dinosaur with a long neck and legs. So using something else to help us visualize. And reeks of chlorine. So it stinks of chlorine, a little bit like bleach. And this particular dragon breathes a poisonous gas, a toxic chlorine gas. So there you go, we have fire, lightning, gas and a frost. Okay, so not all dragons have to breathe fire. So your task today, you are going to create a dragon in your head and on your paper. Okay, you are not writing paragraphs. I just want you to start thinking of your phrases and your words that you're going to use. So are you going to use similes? Are you going to use alliteration, onomatopoeia, sound effects, personification, and vivid adjectives like we have just seen in those 4 paragraphs? Okay, so here are just some examples of what I want you to do, literally just writing little phrases. So tiny flames often dance in his nostrils. So I've magpied all of this. Its body is as big as a boulder. I magpied that from last week. Sorry, not last week, when you did your poem on Tuesday. So I magpied that. My dragon is going to be as old as the earth. Large, lazy, bloodshot eyes. So here I've tried to get in a little bit of alliteration. Large and lazy. Okay, so your task is thinking about your dragon. Okay, writing phrases only. But what you need to think about is every single part of the dragon. So his eyes, his head, ears, mouth, etc., etc. His trunk is basically your body. Think about how does it move? How does it represent itself in attack? How does it defend itself? Does it breathe anything like the other ones? Okay, so that is your main task today. So I hope you have lots of fun. Your dragon can be any colour, it can live anywhere, it can breathe anything, but let's start working on our ideas for our description using figurative language and lots of vivid description.